Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, Ben.
And I'm your co-host, Carissa.
Perfect. So everyone, welcome into today's show. Today, we have a full hour of computer and technology news. We have a lot of different stories. Everything from Russian hacking to China's revamped laws banning addictive, not substances, but addictive services, which is, this is something they've been doing for quite a while, and they've ramped it up a little bit. So there you go. Including also some new Nazca lines. If you are familiar with what those are, they found a cat. Yes, turns out there was a cat among the Nazca lines. All that and more, including as well renting out your own private movie theater. So everyone, hey, welcome into the program. First things first, computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything. You'll find links to today's show. You'll find past shows, future shows, show notes, podcasts, all that and more. Everyone, you should definitely go check that out there at computeramerica.com. While you're there, also be sure to check out the social media links. Follow us on social media. You'll know what's going on first. All that good stuff. So, Carissa, how you doing? How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Pretty chill. Just kind of hung out at home, did some housework. Nothing too exciting.
Same. And I, went out and did some yard work and saw a copperhead, which is always not fun. Yeah. Not fun. And let's just say that there's copperhead no more. But man, it always feels bad that, you want nature to be nature, and we live up in the mountains, so it's whatever. But when that nature is venomous and you have dogs running around
in your yard, right?
Yeah. Nature can be nature, a safe distance away from kind of home and not nature. But either way, it was relaxing. It was a good weekend. Everyone, I hope that you're doing well. And hey, hopefully autumn has taken effect. Pumpkin spice everything has arrived, and hey, you're ready for computer and technology news now. So, Carissa, unless anything else,
I am ready.
Perfect. Okay, everyone, here we go. Computer and technology news brought to you by Computer America. So I think that for our first story, we're going to do this one. And no, not that one also has to do with the UK, but I'm looking for one in particular about the UK and Instagram, if I can find it. Let's see, among all the different stories, we have lots of different stories that we can talk about, but I wanted to start with this one. That was the loophole. Here we go. This one from Business Insider. And, if there's one thing that you could possibly not want to do in today's day and age, that is, don't lose your users' data. Definitely important, and, you want to be very careful with that. Now, with that being said, the second thing you definitely don't want to do is lose your user data of people you shouldn't even be collecting data on, which is minors, kids, and anyone really underage. That gets you in a whole heap of trouble, or at least it should, and it does in the UK in terms of, Instagram. So let's talk about this real quick. Instagram, the one, the only Facebook owned company, is being investigated by the European Union over its loss of 5 million underage users' data. There you go. And that's the contact data. So, just so we know what we're dealing with here, saying that the EU is investigating whether Instagram broke data privacy laws after it allegedly exposed the personal data of millions of children. They say that 2 active investigations into whether or not this actually happened and if they're at fault. The investigation is being carried out by the Ireland's Data Protection Commission, the official data regulator for Instagram's parent company, Facebook in Europe. Facebook's European headquarters are in Dublin. For those of you who don't know, pretty much anyone who operates in the European Union, all of them are stationed in Dublin, and all of them are stationed in Europe. And that's mainly for tax purposes. It's, the tax climate there is very favorable, and it's the lowest in the European Union, and you have to have headquarters in the European Union to participate in the European Union. So yeah, everyone's in Dublin, Ireland, for those who didn't know. Now, with that being said, the Data Protection Commission launched the investigation last month after it received a complaint from U.S. data scientist David Steyer. Steyer told the Telegraph he believes as many as 5 million users under the age of 18 had their personal contact details exposed. And I guess, Krista, thinking back, when you sign up for a social media site, I think they allow anyone, and it goes for like Gmail as well, they allow anyone up to the age of 13, or anyone down to the age of 13. And
13 is like the minimum age generally.
Yes. Yeah, 13 is minimum age. And I think in a lot of cases you have to have it tied to another existing 18 and over kind of like parental account. And then after they go from 13 to 18, then they transition to a full blown account. But ideally that should mean that those 13-year-olds, they're not used in advertising. The data that they generate is not used anywhere else. They're supposed to have very strict rules because, kids can't really consent to full-blown contracts, because I know that every adult reads the end user license agreement. Everyone reads those 35-page documents before they start using their very simple app. Kids are supposed to have better protections than the rest of us because, they are more vulnerable. Not so much in this case. Now, they say that they will establish whether Facebook has a legal basis for the ongoing processing of children's personal data, and if it employs adequate protections and or restrictions on the Instagram platform for such kids.
This is also assuming that these kids aren't lying about their ages in the first place.
Yes, which I know that no one underage has ever said, yes, I am over 18 to any website on the internet. That has never happened before. Everyone has been totally upfront. Everyone was totally born in 1901, just to get past an age barrier. But yeah, so it's they're supposed to have more protections and all that good stuff. Now, the bigger question is it legal? And in most places, I thought that it wasn't, but, they say, kind of the ongoing, kind of the ongoing question whether or not this is legal, and they process it and that kind of thing. By the way, just a complete aside, if your 13-year-old is on Instagram, get them off of Instagram.
Right. They shouldn't be there in the first place.
Yeah, we actually have a show dedicated entirely to the negative and positive side effects of social media, and Instagram came up a lot because it really does foster kind of this unhealthy personal image problem where everyone looks fabulous, everyone has great filters that they use, everyone has amazing vacations that they're constantly going on. Life is amazing for everyone, and especially for influencers who have the largest audiences on Instagram. Everything is amazing. And for a young developing, for a young adult, that leads to a lot of kind of self-destructive tendencies and, trying to achieve something that not even the people who are generating the content have achieved. Carissa, did you see the fake airplane sets for Instagram users? This was, I believe, somewhere in... this happened last month, and it was kind of leaked. Let me show everyone. I think
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah, and this is from Rogue Rocket Industry, and, they have pictures here, and, they have, very attractive women who are sitting in what appears to be private jets, and turns out that the images are really, just... like you would think a private jet, full blown, you're good to go. But no, it turns out it's just someone's apartment that they kind of built this fake set in, and Instagram users can come in and pay, $75, $100 to come in and do a little photo shoot in a quote unquote private jet. So yeah, not much is actually real on Instagram. And it's very, very unhealthy for kids. So we highly encourage you to go check out that. You can find that at Computer America and YouTube and all that good stuff. But yeah, don't be on Instagram if you're young. Now, with that being said, the Telegraph reports that the EU data protection regulations, each investigation could result in a maximum fine of 4% of Facebook's annual revenue. And that's something that I really like about the EU, Carissa, is that they don't fine based on, kind of rules of the past and, these kind of things. A lot of times the fines happen in Europe as a percentage of profit or revenue. And
I think that's great.
Yeah. And, places like, that's why you sometimes get these tickets in like Norway, for instance, one of these Nordic countries. They do speeding tickets based on a percentage of your income because, $100 to a minimum wage worker, that's going to be a big deal. $100 to someone making a lot of money. How is that punitive whatsoever? That's why sometimes you get speeding tickets that are like $20,000 is because, well, yeah, it's
I want you to feel it.
Yeah, exactly. 1% is 1%. It percentage base treats everyone a little bit more equally than just a flat fee. So they do the same thing with corporate penalties. And again, that could be up to $2.8 billion for each regulation or each violation that they incurred. So yeah, you're probably going to feel a $3 billion hit for doing this. So here we go. Let's talk about this loophole. By the way, they said that in 2018 he found out that an Instagram loophole that allowed the personal data of underage users to be publicly exposed. The loophole is linked to how Instagram allows users to switch between a regular account and a business account. To change over to having a business account, Instagram users must add either a phone number or an email address. And because there are seemingly no restrictions on who can change their personal profile to a business account, many kids have figured out that they can claim to have a business so that they can add a contact button into their own profile page. There you go. Mm-hmm. So kids were setting up business accounts that didn't really exist. And of course, they're kids. They're going to look as cool as possible and set up a business and contact information, all that good stuff. And so it turns out that identifying, by leaking all the different business contact information, which is normally up there anyways, but then having it tied to an account that is under the age of 18, that's where your problem comes in. So with that being said, they said, however, Instagram continues to be a place, continues to place children in harm's way, and they have only minor adjustments. They have made only minor adjustments that affect new users, and I have evidence that they've done nothing to make people anonymous. The personal contact data for millions of kids who have set up fake business accounts. So, yeah. Kids will be kids, they're going to make an email account. They're going to make a Facebook account that is over the age of 18, that kind of thing. But I think for Instagram in particular to not close that loophole faster and then not, kind of really go through it with a fine tooth comb and say, who did this, who did this illegally. I mean, again, just seems like Facebook being lazy. They definitely have obviously the money to do this. So.
Yeah, it's just absolutely just them being lazy. And sometimes it's really obvious, like, yeah, that kid does not look 18. And then you could kind of dig into that, But again, that comes to moderators and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
The general stuff.
And Facebook has taken a very hands-off approach, which is, they're like, hey, we don't need to be regulated, and we're going to self-regulate, and then they don't self-regulate, and then things like this
That's the regulation.
Happen. Right, exactly. So with that being said, and I'm sure that everyone saw it. I mean, I even saw it on the evening news, so I'm sure that a lot of people have seen it as well. That gentleman riding on his longboard, his skateboard, drinking crayon raspberry juice, and kind of singing along to Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. Have you seen that TikTok, Carissa?
I haven't seen it. I've been seeing articles about it everywhere, though.
Yeah. So let's talk about that real quick because, well, turns out that that gentleman, and I know that last week, kind of when it happened, because it happened like the week before when it got really big, but last week it was in the Billboard's top 200. It was the first time it had debuted in the top 200 since like 1978, and now this week it is now in the top 10 albums sold this week since 1978.
Not even listened to, but sold. So people purchased. This album.
Yeah. It's and really this is, I think, the exciting part for music, because so much music, especially, kind of in the 70s and 80s as well, and not so much before that, maybe in the 60s, but a lot of them were recorded in professional studios with sound booths and, proper mixing. Like, the technology behind good music hasn't really changed that much since the 70s. So it's really cool to see that, music that was made 40 years ago still sounds as good as music made today, because we're still using the same instruments, we're still using the same microphones and things like that, the bit rate, all that good stuff. I mean, it means that just because something was made 40 years ago doesn't mean that it's bad or it sounds terrible. And this is a Chris, have you ever seen anyone commented something stupid like, I was born in the wrong decade, the music was so much better back then, today's music sucks, and so on and so forth. This is their time to put up or shut up, because the music from yesteryear, the music from 40 years ago, it sounds just as good, and if it is better, then hey, put it back on the Billboard top 200, top 10.
Absolutely,
it's pretty cool. So obviously, this article goes into a bit about the gentleman and his TikTok account, and kind of doing this thing. Now, here we go. Billboard's chart measures albums units moved each week in terms of sales, track purchases, and streams. Rumors made it to the top 10 with 33,000 units, nearly 70% of which came from streaming. So, Carissa, not so much purchases, but a lot of people started listening to it again, and they counted. And Billboard says it counted 30 million streams from the album for the week ending in October 15th. Rumors has already been climbing the chart over the past few weeks as the song went viral, though the classic album had been hovering in the 50s even without the boost. So I guess with this viral TikTok, it went from like 50 up to the top 10. So
it's still pretty cool, though.
Yeah, so pretty cool. So they say that the resurgence is another example of the power of TikTok has for musicians. The app sent Lil Nas X to stardom. If you remember that, he did that that cowboy song. What was Lil Nas X's song?
Old Town Road.
Old Town Road. Yes, that was it.
With Billy Ray Cyrus and somebody else.
Well, he made it, and then, he made the song, and then the Country Music Awards or Academy or whatever said that they weren't going to count it because it wasn't by, kind of an established country musician. It was someone who's kind of breaking into the genre, and they didn't really want to count it. So then Billy Ray Cyrus jumped on, and he was like, hey, I'm an established country musician. I'll attach myself to it. And then it started climbing the country charts as well. So...
Nice.
Yeah, fuddy-duddies over there, but still, Mac's Rumors are in the top 10 this week, so that was pretty cool. Definitely very cool. So with that being said, Chris, I'm going to do one more, and then we'll go over to you and see which one of these you like, but I wanted to do, let's see, not this one. I want to do the China one. The China one's very interesting because I saw this the other day, and I am a nerd, so therefore I read websites dedicated to World of Warcraft, Blizzard in general news. And in China, they were starting to report that certain people were receiving buffs on, or debuffs, I should say, in World of Warcraft, which are negative effects that happen to your character. And these were kind of account wide. And they said that, hey, you have been logged into World of Warcraft for over 3 hours. the amount of experience, gold, and items or whatever is going to be reduced by 50% for the duration. And then if you're logged on for more than 5 hours, they say you've been logged on for way too long. Everything is going to stop dropping and your character is going to do no damage. And yeah, it's time for you to go exercise, get some rest, do something good for your body.
It's heinous.
Yeah, and
how dare they try to control you like that?
Well, Chris, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and let you be the American point of view. Why, as an American, why do you find that heinous?
Because I've been known to play video games for far longer than 5 hours, and I can't even imagine being that deep into it and then having like a debuff like that. Just absolutely not. What a waste of time.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely very, very foreign, I guess, for people here in the United States, because and again, these restrictions are imposed by the company, but they're mandated by the government. The government definitely has the final say in what has, kind of what is allowed to happen. So let's see, and let me find that one actually real quick. So, wow, debuff China.
I mean, I guess it's a good thing.
Yeah, it's and here's this website that's Wowhead and all that good stuff. But anyways, 3-hour playtime penalty for Chinese players showing in the Shadowlands beta, and so this will be in the next expansion. But essentially, it's saying you have more than 3 hours of online time, you will receive 1/2 money and experience during this period. The rest date will reset in 5 hours of offline time. Please go rest. And with that being said, they also have another one here that says you have more than 5 hours. You will not be able to gain loot, experience, or complete quest. Your rest date will reset in, I think it's like another 8 hours or something like that of offline time. Please log out and go rest and exercise. So they're asking you to do both rest and exercise after 5 hours. It's definitely very strange, and I guess for something like that would never happen here in the United States because we have
no regulations like that.
Well, no, it's not even about like regulations, because we do have regulations protecting consumers. Is that the consumer, if they pay X amount of money for a service and the company said, oh, we're going to restrict the amount of time that you can spend using this service, there will be lawsuits everywhere saying, hey, I paid for 24/7 access to World of Warcraft. I did not pay for 3 hours at a time access to World of Warcraft. They're stealing my money because I'm not getting what I paid for. Stuff like that would happen all the time. In China, though, because there's such a hand-in-hand relationship between the government and private industry, they can do that, and turns out that they will. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit more. China is implementing strict measures in its bid to keep kids away from addictive digital content. And this is the state-backed news agency Xinhua reported via Reuters that China has voted for revamped laws that will ban internet products and services which induce addiction in kids. Game creators, live stream services, and social networks also have to set up time and consumption limits. There you go. The revised measures also gives kids and their parents the right to ask internet providers to take necessary measures to thwart cyberbullying, including blocking or deleting content. That's a conversation we've had here on the show, Carissa, is that we're, more and more, it seems like here in the United States, at least, we're asking the people who facilitate the content to also regulate the content, which, kind of saying, hey, Twitter or Facebook, or in this case, it would be something like, hey, Comcast and AT&T, protect my kid, only show my kid what my kid needs to see. And I don't know anyone who would say, oh yeah, AT&T is definitely the perfect virtual babysitter for my kid. Very strange. But again, you have that relationship with government and private industry in China that you just don't have here. So
Right.
To some extent, this is formalizing what China has been doing before. It has already explored the ethics of video game addiction, and developers like Tencent have already put checks in place. However, an explicit ban on addictive content could force sites and game creators to put checks in place to be safe, even if they're not convinced kids will be hooked. While that will mostly affect China-focused digital goods, it could have an effect on Chinese-made games and services elsewhere. You know, Chris, last time we did computer and technology news, we talked about, let's see, what does Tencent own? Yeah, and you know, we did that whole thing with Disney and, you know, kind of how much Disney kind of owned. And I wanted to do something like that for Tencent. If you haven't heard about them, they're a very, very large company. And this one is actually even outdated because this goes into, that was like 2017. This is about a year ago. So this is a little more up to date. Tencent Video Game Updater. For those of you who don't know, they do Tencent Games. So obviously Tencent Games owns Tencent Games. With that being said, they also own pretty much the entirety of Riot and League of Legends, which is a huge game in its own right. Clash Royale, if you've ever heard of that mobile game, they own about 84% of that. Epic Games, which makes things like Fortnite and so many other games. Epic Games is also one of the developers that are trying to sue Apple and, you know, kind of their lockdown of the App Store. Ding, ding, ding. They own about 40% of Fortnite and Gears of War. Activision Blizzard, they have not disclosed how much Tencent has invested in them, although it's a pretty good amount.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, it's probably up there. And they also own about 5% of Ubisoft, which includes all the Tom Clancy titles. And that's just video games. They also have live streaming platform. All these are more popular over in the Asiatic countries. And then you also have games distributed in China. So like sometimes when games are developed elsewhere, because I think like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, I think is Russian made, if I'm not mistaken. But to get permission to have your game published in China, you have to have an established Chinese company kind of take over the helmsmanship and, you know, so that they can impose the proper morality on these video games. So things like EA, FIFA, NBA, Rocket League, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, and like, this is just like the esports kind of thing. Like they also have a lot, including GGG, which is like Path of Exile. They also have Dota, CSGO, Overwatch League, Fortnite, PUBG, Rainbow Six, Hearthstone. I mean, Call of Duty. They have fingers in just about every popular online multiplayer game. Tencent owns a good portion, if not the majority, of that title. It's big. It's huge. It's really big. Yeah. So, and again, Tencent is like one of the first companies to go ahead and enforce the regulations of these video games. So
question.
Yeah.
Is this just for children or is this for everyone who plays these games? They
claim it's for parental controls and things like that. But at the same time, I have seen them used in people over 18. And it has to do with China has this way of thinking that they're going to, because they're a communistic society, they're going to dictate how people are going to be better people. And some things are, you know, you can look at it and go, oh, that's kind of okay. Like they're going to mandate that you get, 8 hours of exercise every single week. They're going to mandate that you, only play X amount of video games at a time. They're going to mandate that you do certain things. Chris, have you ever heard of the Chinese social credit score?
No.
Okay, so this is a fun deviation, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the social credit system in China.
That sounds like some Black Mirror stuff right there.
It sounds like some what?
Black Mirror stuff. There was an episode of Black Mirror where it was kind of like related to like your social media kind of thing, and people would rate you.
It's to be fair, Black Mirror probably got it from China instead of the other way around. So let's talk about this real quick.
Yep.
It's a national reputation system being developed by the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP, under obviously Secretary Xi Jinping. The program initiated regional trials in 2009 before launching a national pilot with 8 credit scores with 8 credit scoring firms in 2014. So this is kind of like a credit score that we have here in the United States, but a credit score is strictly based on your ability to take out loans and then repay those debts. That is what that's what a credit system is. Now, the social credit system is that and a whole lot more. They said that by 2020, it is intended to standardize the assessments of citizens and businesses' economic and social reputation, or social credit. The Social Credit Initiative calls for the establishment of a unified record system for individual businesses and government to be tracked and evaluated for trustworthiness. And that's the big thing. It's not even like how good you are at repaying your debts. It's your trustworthiness as seen by the People's Bank of China and the other 8 firms that are all owned by the government. It's how much the government can trust you as a person. Initial reports suggested that the system utilized numerical score as the reward and punishment mechanism. And yes, there is a punishment mechanism. It's not even like, oh, you can't even do it, or, you don't get the bonus. You don't get the piece of candy at the end. No, there are literal punishments if you're not a good enough citizen. And again, just to be clear, everyone, this is real. This is happening right now and has been happening for the past decade in China. And one of the reasons why, you probably don't want to be there. And even on top of that, I think they're even building social credit profiles for people who are not Chinese citizens as well, such as, let's say, Ben badmouths the People's Republic of China all the time. Ben's social credit score will probably be lower if I ever decide to enter the country. They're going to know about me and my philosophy and that kind of thing. So they also said that recent reports suggest that there are in fact multiple different forms of social credit system being experimented with. Numerical system has been implemented only in several regional pilot programs, while the nationwide regulatory method has been based on blacklisting and whitelisting. The credit system is closely related to China's mass surveillance system, such as Skynet. Yes, it is literally called Skynet, which incorporates facial recognition, big data analysis technology, AI, and Project Maven. And so
watch out.
I have said before that if you want to see what technology can do wrong, watch China. They're implementing it with like huge swaths of their population, and of course everything that's going on with like the Uyghurs or Uyghurs, I forgot how you say that.
I think it's Uyghur.
Yeah, Uyghur, the Muslim population there in China, and of course the ethnic cleansing of Nepal as well. Yeah, there's a lot of really bad things happening in China. Now, with that being said, back to the social credit system. In 2018, some restrictions have been placed on citizens, which state-owned media described as the first step towards a nationwide social credit system. As of November 2019, in addition to dishonest and fraudulent financial behavior, other behavior that some cities have officially listed as negative factors of credit ratings include loud music or eating in rapid transits, such as, let's say you ordered, not even like Taco Bell, because, Taco Bell's kind of not intrusive. Like if you decided to have your microwave oysters on a public train and it smelled and it was awful, they would know who was eating, thanks to their mass surveillance and their mass facial recognition. They would know who they're eating and, kind of who's disturbing the peace by playing loud music or eating in public. They also have things like jaywalking and red light violations, or driving through a red light, making reservations at restaurants or hotels but not showing up, failing to correctly sort personal waste, so not recycling, fraudulently using people's public transportation ID cards, etc. On the other hand, behavior listed as positive factors include donating blood, donating to charity, volunteering for community service, and so on. So, Chris, what I'm saying, and this again ties into everything that we've been talking about with their plans to reduce online addiction and video game addiction in kids. Like, One could argue donating blood, donating time to charity, donating money to charity, being a good fellow citizen, all of that should be encouraged. Just like getting exercise, being a healthy person, having balance in your everyday life. Not jaywalking, not driving through not driving through red lights.
Right.
These are all pretty much universally appropriate things, but when they are forced upon you, and in such a manner that at some point, if you jaywalked too many times, if you played loud music, if you were, just kind of being a jerk, but then for the next 20 years, you were denied bank loans to buy a house, buy a car, be able to move up the socioeconomic ladder of, being dirt poor to, middle class, because you can't get a home, job. This social credit system also applies to getting work and jobs and getting passports and traveling. If they put you on what is essentially lockdown because you have been, kind of a rude person, it gets very bad very quickly. And again, it's kind of the government saying, here's how you should behave as a citizen of China. And, one of the things that this article has yet to mention is that speaking negatively of the People's Republic of China, that affects your credit score. If you have anything bad to say, if you're found spreading rumors, if you're found spreading any kind of actual information that the Chinese government doesn't want spread, such as what happened in, there's like the Nanking ethno cleansing, there was Tiananmen Square, there was everything that they're doing in Hong Kong. If you're found spreading any kind of that actual information, your social credit score will also go down because, hey, you did something the Chinese government didn't like. It's a tough line to draw. Now, let's finish this up and then we'll finish up the whole thing. But anyways, as of June 2019, according to the National Development and Reform Commission of China, 26.82 million air tickets, as well as 6 million high-speed rail tickets have been denied to people who were deemed untrustworthy, and about 4 million untrustworthy people have had chosen to fulfill their duties required by law. In general, it takes about 2 to 5 years to be removed from a blacklist, but early removal is possible if they have done enough remedies, as in if they had, if you really go out of your way to appease your government, then hey, maybe they'll let you purchase a plane ticket.
Get a bus pass.
Yeah, exactly. In general, they say that certain personal information of the blacklisted people is deliberately made accessible to the society and is displayed online in various public venues such as movie theaters and buses. Yes, they will publicly shame you. This is not just some kind of weird system in the background. No, they will say that Ben is a horrible citizen. He did not sort his recycling and has not donated blood within 2 years. What a jerk that Ben is. And they'll put it up.
Put your face on the news? Yeah, really?
Well, they'll have it on like online forums and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Don't forget, it's a nation of 1.3 billion people.
It's a Facebook, but it's all just wall of shame.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just for bad people.
Pretty much. And while some cities have also banned children of untrustworthy residents from attending private schools and even universities, on the other hand, people with high credit scores may receive awards such as less time waiting at hospitals and governmental agencies, discounts at hotels, and greater likelihood of receiving employment offers, and so on. Yes, favoritism definitely happens. Think about that. Less waiting time at hospitals. They will let you bleed out on the floor because some dude who picked up his trash did it way better than you, and you die because someone else is a better
trash properly.
Because he's a better citizen, or they're a better citizen, and they deserve better treatment than you.
Yeah, I don't like that.
So anyways, there you go. One last thing that they say, as I said before, while critics of the system claim that it oversteps the rule of law and infringes the legal rights of residents and organizations, especially the right to reputation, the right to privacy, as well as personal dignity, and the system may be a tool for comprehensive, okay, hopefully everything is working out well. looks like we're dropping a few frames, but it should be okay.
I lost you for a sec. You're good though.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully that doesn't keep happening. But anyways, they say that may be a tool for comprehensive government surveillance and for suppression of dissent from the Communist Party of China. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They're only going to allow people who toe the party line, who espouse the virtues of the current government regime, and anyone they find speaking bad about it, anyone that they find for any reason, like, picking up your trash is one thing, but that they're going to twist it into this person doesn't believe fully in the ideals that we believe in.
Right.
We're going to ban them from even having internet access, which is one of the things. Like, they can ban you from taking part in social discussions and social media. And then at some point, if you continue to speak out against the Chinese government, you're not going to get a job. You're not going to have a car. You're not going to have a house. You're not going to be able to travel anywhere. You're not even going to be able to leave China for somewhere better. Yeah, you're just going to become homeless, and everything will be destroyed. So at this point, it's do what we say or else. And that is the social credit system of China. It's a very real thing. If this at all interests you, definitely recommend you look it up. But yeah, this is and like, that's the same kind of country that implements this article like this, where they're revamping laws banning online services that induce addiction in kids. You can imagine that if you are found circumventing these things by maybe having 2 accounts, or finding some way around this, if they find out that you're doing that, maybe through the ISP, then that will be deducted from your social credit score, and you will be held responsible. It's China. What a messed up place.
Yeah, that was interesting. I had no idea that was actually going on, so I'm a little shocked, honestly.
Well, there you go. And to be fair, it's only happening in like the past 10 years, and it's been picking up steam. It's happening regionally in a lot of places. It's not, so far, it's not one overarching, kind of thing, but every province is encouraged to have some kind of system like that. So, gotcha. Yeah. Keep an eye on China. Like I said, if you want to see technology go unchecked, that's definitely one thing. And, the article also links to a number of other articles talking about things like Tencent lets parents reward kids good grades with game time. So the company is allowing, I guess, kind of a more ingrained parental control, which this is supposed to be. And then they also have Video Game Ethics Committee as part of a crackdown. That's what China has. China is looking into that. Yeah, it's just a whole different thing. So with all that being said, nice deviation. I definitely like, I don't like talking about that, but I do find that interesting. Carissa, what story do you have, or which story caught your attention?
Let's do the Disney Plus one.
Disney Plus Disney Plus has a new warning label for content with racial stereotypes or racist stereotypes.
Yes.
That one? Okay. For those of you who don't know, Disney's been doing this. And so before we even get into what this is, Chris, I'm going to ask you what you would do. Carissa, magic wand, you are now the CEO and chief operating officer of Disney. And you know that you have this back catalog that goes back, 50, 60, 70, 80 years of amazing, timeless classics that are animation from the golden era of animation. You want to use them, you want to utilize them, but turns out that some of the characters are... some of the characters with African American black stereotypes of like larger lips and things like that, or they have some where it's like they have like Chinese stereotypes with the straw hat, the buck teeth, that kind of thing. Probably wouldn't fly in today's PC culture. What do you do? How do you remedy such a situation?
I mean, if you want to have the stuff out there, this is the only way to do it, I think, is to have some sort of warning, be like, hey, you might find this a little offensive. Granted, it's from 1930.
The other way is, and other companies have definitely done this, they go back and they cut, take out, alter, edit what used to be.
Editing it might be interesting. I don't know if you want to cut it out, because I feel like that might be... the way the characters are designed doesn't necessarily portray into the character, the personality all the time. So yeah, you could edit a lot of it, but some of it, you might need to cut
But
it
then
out.
there's of course the idea that hey, you're messing with 80-year-old animation.
Right. This is also history.
It is no longer what it used to be, and so Disney, I think, with everything that they could have done, this is probably what would make people the least angry. Is that hey, you don't hide your past, you don't run from it. You say, hey, this is how things used to be. They are no longer like that, but we're not going to change it just because we currently find it reprehensible. So, with that being said, Chris Holt, Engadget, saying that several movies and shows on Disney Plus now carry an unskippable content warning that flags racist stereotypes. It's pretty cool because, it's not even like, some of the stereotypes portrayed in this media are harmful and, that kind of thing. It's not like one general kind of thing. They'll actually include information as to why it's wrong, saying that, hey, it's portrayed like this is not the case. For more information, go check this out here. Like, they're very specific. That's on nice. What is wrong. Yeah. It's not some blanket, kind of Band-Aid. So several movies, again, have these unskippable content warnings. This program includes negative depictions and or mistreatment of people or cultures. That is what, kind of one of the opening messages said. These stereotypes were wrong then and are wrong now. Rather than remove the content, we want to acknowledge its harmful impact, learn from it, and spark conversation to create a more inclusive future together, which I think a lot of people would appreciate that. Because if you change, edit, take it out, delete it, cut it, whatever, you're acknowledging that it was bad, but then you're also saying, oh, it never happened. Whereas, it never happened and we're good as new. No, it happened and we can learn from it. So the 12-second message appears before the Aristocats, which the Aristocats had...
I can see that.
Yeah, they had the Siamese cat with, again, with the buck teeth and things like that, and playing the piano with chopsticks. Peter Pan, which Peter Pan had...
The Indians.
Yes, the Indians.
Americans, sorry.
Yep, there you go. Let's see, so, and then Dumbo, I think, had... something. I don't remember what Dumbo had.
I think they were racist crows or something like
that.
No.
The racist crows were in Song of the South. That was that whole thing. Oh, and by the way, we're getting some feedback or some noise from your microphone. I don't know.
Oh, strange.
If there's anything you can kind of tighten up there with the connections. But anyways, and also the Swiss Family Robinson, which I don't even know what that is. Swiss Family Robinson. Let's do a quick Google search. Let's see, images, live action, Swiss Family Robinson, and yeah, it's weird. Treehouse, that whole thing. I don't know anything about that, but regardless, they say that it includes a URL for a Disney website called Stories Matter, which is what I was talking about, that explain why depictions of certain characters in these shows and movies are harmful and or offensive. The advisory text, which replaces a shorter warning, also appears on each applicable show or movie's landing page. So yeah, you can even see that here. You can see it here. Stories matter, why it matters, and you can kind of go into each film that, here's the content and that kind of thing. And, the Aristocats, Dumbo. And I'm sorry, Chris, you were right. It was with the crows. Dumbo was with the crows. Peter Pan with the Indians. Swiss Family Robinson with
pirates.
Pirates and the Chinese pirates and that kind of thing. So, yeah, clearly they have information to... if you're one of those people that are like, what's offensive about that cat playing piano? This will explain it to you. So, of note, Disney Plus does not include one of the company's most problematic films, Song of the South. The movie has long been criticized for its depictions of African Americans, and it has never been available in any home video format in the United States. Disney is fun story for those of you who don't know. So racist, it didn't even get like a cover up. It was just, well, nope, this is not good. Disney is reworking its Splash Mountain ride, which is based on the film, at its U.S. theme parks. The rides will instead feature characters from Princess and the Frog, which was the first Disney film to have a black princess. So,
which was spectacular, by the way. What a great movie.
I did not see that one.
Really?
Yeah, being a single 27-year-old guy.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, I didn't really feel.
You don't get to the theater that much for those kinds of movies.
Yeah, I didn't really feel the need to, kind of jump into a kids movie, but one day. But yeah, so there you go. Disney not cutting everything. And again, I think this is the best way to do it. Acknowledge that it happened, but don't acknowledge, apologize, but don't redact. Don't just take it like it never happened. So, Okay, so there's that one. We have time for one, maybe two more. And I wanted to talk about this one. So we talked about the European Union earlier and the whole data privacy. Turns out something else fishy is happening. Although, I guess I have to be fair, the UK is not the European Union anymore. So check this one out. The UK closes a loophole that allowed using your phone while driving, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we have a podcast. If you're driving or if you're busy, don't grab your phone and start messing with it. No, just, hey, be safe out there. Now, with that being said, the UK is about to make it clear that you shouldn't grab your phone while driving, regardless of what you intend to do. The government is closing a legal loophole that allowed people to pick up their phones while driving as long as they weren't calling or messaging, which you would think, when this when this law was probably written, there you go, yeah, maybe back as early as like 2006, 7, 8, which isn't too long ago. The only thing you could do on a phone was pretty much, kind of call or message or play like Pac-Man or Snake. There really wasn't that much to do on a phone. Nowadays, calling or messaging is probably the least done thing on most phones. There's so much to do. There's so many games.
It's true. I was looking at my bill the other day, and I was like, man, I've only sent like 300 text messages like all month, and I used to send thousands upon thousands of text messages.
Yeah, and of course, that doesn't mean you're socializing any less. That just means that you're using different apps, taking pictures, kind of looking at things, browsing. Yeah, there's so much to do. Now, with that being said, when enacted, you'll have to use hands-free features for just about everything. The lone exception is for contactless payments while you're stationary, such as paying for a meal. So so these are the changes. The law previously only banned interactive communication. Effectively, this let people escape punishment by claiming that they were browsing the web, taking a selfie, or otherwise doing something that didn't involve chatting with others. So again, the loophole was you weren't allowed to use your phone for calling or messaging. So if you were doing anything else that was browsing Pinterest, that was taking a selfie, that was playing a video game on your phone, all of that was perfectly legal. So here we are. The measure is expected to take place in early 2021. The phone use while driving in the UK currently leads at about a $200 fine and a 6-point penalty, which is pretty severe.
Ooh.
The tougher restrictions come alongside a study of that many drivers aren't keeping their eyes on the road. Of 662 phone interactions, only 38 were totally hands-free. A blanket ban for hands-on use won't necessarily get more of those drivers to change their habits, but it could ensure consistent enforcement that simply wasn't an option before. So, I like how they said that. It's probably not going to change anyone's mind. If you're stupid enough to grab your phone and text while driving, then you're probably going to continue to be stupid enough to text while driving. This will at least let law enforcement be able to, kind of penalize you appropriately for what you were doing. And that's a good thing.
Absolutely. And that's interesting too, because Frankly, messaging is the least intrusive thing you can be doing on your phone because you send the message and you put your phone down, right?
Mhm.
But if you're browsing through Facebook, you're sitting there scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, or trying to take selfies and you take 50, 60, so you got to get the right picture. I don't know if you know, but girls take a ton of pictures before you find one good one. So if you're doing that in the car anyway, then that's already taking more time than just a text message to begin with.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of things that you should be doing on your phone while you're driving. I think that
Pretty much
people
nothing.
Yeah,
is the consensus.
people get very very complacent with things that they do all the time. So if you're driving a lot, then you forget that you're driving a 2 to 4 to 6,000 pound vehicle that can easily kill someone. So
Right.
there you go. Now with that, but I mean, I kind of get it. Calling a Toyota Prius a death machine is, I don't think anyone's going to believe that.
But still, I mean, it depends on which side you're on.
Now, with that being said, I wanted to do this one, and this one may get under people's collars, but that's okay. TikTok. Real quick, Carissa, do you know who QAnon is? Or what QAnon is? I should not say Hugh. Well,
I've heard of it. I don't really know what it is, though.
So the Who is actually QAnon, which is a supposed government insider who claims to have privileged information about the deep state and all these other conspiracy theories that come out. QAnon first made a rise in like 2016, I think, was when it first started coming out about Hillary and her emails and this whole Pizzagate thing, and saying that Hillary was arrested and all this kind of thing. Essentially, a lot of information that proved not to be true. But like most conspiracy theorists, it's stringing together bits of actual information and then making wild accusations between the actual facts. So yeah,
Gotcha.
QAnon is now the QAnon. I can't even say like organization. People who subscribe to the belief of QAnon and things like that. They take this as fact, and they believe someone is in there, and Trump is working on the inside, and he's working against this giant deep state thing, and it's just this whole mess. And they have been tied to situations like Pizzagate, where a gentleman went in there with a gun and tried to free kids from a basement that didn't exist in a pizza parlor, and turns out that there are real life consequences to disinformation campaigns online. Well, one of the latest places is the one, the only. We're back to China. TikTok is banning accounts that share QAnon related content. There you go. For those of you who don't know, TikTok is joining the ranks of Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, a lot of other large social media sites. Before, it was like they were targeting individuals, but now they're targeting actual like QAnon groups and pages and people spreading that kind of information. So this is again those who promote the QAnon conspiracy theory. The service, which has blocked hashtags related to the movement since July, has extended its ban to all accounts and videos that share QAnon disinformation. Content and accounts that promote QAnon violate our disinformation policy, and we remove them from our platform. We've also taken significant steps to make this content harder to find across the search and hashtags by redirecting associated terms to our community guidelines. Those guidelines prohibit disinformation that cause harm to individuals or community or the larger public, and the service currently QAnon policy has been in place for a while, it told Forbes. They're just now clarifying its stance. So this has been happening again since July, and now they're just making it kind of official. So obviously Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, and even Peloton, yes, that Peloton, the bike company, have also taken steps to stamp out QAnon material on all networks.
What the heck is being distributed on the Peloton for QAnon? That's what I want to know.
I guess you're getting your sweat on. You're listening to some wacko. Maybe you're listening to what's that? Alex Jones. Maybe you're listening to some Alex Jones as he's pedaling furiously and angrily on his Peloton bike, leading a QAnon style class session on, I don't know what that would look like. But, yeah, the White House has filed an appeal against an injunction that blocked it from banning downloads of the app. And of course, that whole thing with TikTok and China that we've covered before, it's a whole mess. So everyone, music should be playing here in the background just lately. There we go. And so with that being said, Chris, the problem with QAnon though is like the more platforms that try to stamp it out or stop the spread of misinformation, QAnon takes that as, look, they're afraid of our message. We're on the trail. We're on the track. Like most conspiracy theorists, when you say, hey, whoops. Let's start that over again. Anyways, yeah, when you say you are wrong, they take that as, hey, we're right, and look, we're winning. So, yeah, just need to restrict the information as much as possible. So everyone,
absolutely.
We're out of time. Thank you so much for tuning into Computer America. We're done here. If you want to find out more, computeramerica.com. Highly encourage you to go check that out. Social media at Computer America. Let us know what you want to hear about. Tomorrow we should have a special segment here on Computer America. We'll come up with a topic, and yeah, it will be a deep dive into everything. We did a pretty good overview. Maybe we will use China's social credit system and more, and talk about that in depth. That might be an interesting topic. I don't know. We'll come up with something. Everyone, until next time, have a great day. Bye, everyone.
See ya.